Hello, my friends, and welcome to another devotional connection. I was doing some studying today and just looking at the story of the Samaritan woman that Jesus met at the well. And it was interesting, kind of some of the things that I got connected with. And one of them was a small devotional that was given by a content creator that I like. And what the devotional was about was how the bread that Jesus talks about in the book of John over and over again. You got John 4, you got John 6, you got John 7, where he talks about being the bread of life, and whoever comes to him will never go thirsty. He's also the living water. And what they were discussing is that how bread, one of the staples of food, fills you up and expands, and provides you with nourishment, and how in the Lord's Prayer it says, "Give us this day our daily bread." And so often we relate that to physical food, our sustenance for the day, and sometimes we forget what Jesus says, "I am the bread of life" in John 6:35. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. The goodness of God, the goodness of who he is, the goodness of what he offers. Just reading my Bible every day just does something for me, does something to me, fills me up, and provides sustenance for me in a way that no other person, living or dead, could do. But then he also continues and says, "Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." And going back to the Samaritan woman at the well, he's telling her that if you knew who I was, you would be asking me for the living water so that you can never go thirsty again. What was brought up by this content creator was that sometimes when we get thirsty, and we are a thirsty people, and living in Arizona, you know thirst. We're a thirsty people, and sometimes things that don't exist look like water. Things that aren't good water looks good to drink. When you're in the desert too long, they have these things called mirages, where you imagine that there's water on the horizon, and it's not. I've known people who have been so thirsty as they're telling stories lost at sea that they've drank ocean water, which isn't good for you. All it does is make you more thirsty. Jesus says, "I am the living water. He who comes to me and drinks from me will never be thirsty again." Why? Because that well of his does something different. That word of his is something different. The drinking from the cup of Jesus Christ, drinking from the word of God, is something different. And every time you read it, every time you taste it, every time you drink of it, it's never empty. It never runs out. It's constantly overflowing. And the depth of it just continues on and on and on. I say all that to say this. I encourage you again today, as I have tried to do many times before, as I'm doing in my personal life, and focusing on. I encourage you, read your word daily. Dive into God daily. Spend time abiding with him daily. Eat of that bread. Drink of that water every day. You'll never be hungry, and you'll never go thirsty again. Talk to you again soon.